Supreme Court. So in our country we have single integrated judiciary system. Single integrated judiciary system means what? It means in our country Supreme Court is a court at the apex of our judiciary system. Below Supreme Court we have High Court and below it we have subordinate courts. Remember one thing, we have single integrated judiciary system, which means in entire country civil and criminal laws prevailing are same. We have same civil law and same criminal law prevailing in entire country. And most of the cases by the way of appeal you can take from lower court to higher court. So that is called as single integrated judiciary system. So let us start first with Supreme Court. We have one Supreme Court in India, which is in New Delhi. Supreme Court, let us understand the composition of Supreme Court. So Supreme Court, in our country we have one CJI. One CJI means one Chief Justice of India. The head of the Supreme Court is called as Chief Justice of India. He is not only the head of Supreme Court, he is also called as head of Judicial Department of our country. He is the head of judiciary of our country. How many CJI we will have? One, because Supreme Court is one. Now we have 33 other judges. Now this is a very important point to remember, kids. 33 other judges. The number of other judges earlier were 25. Then it was increased to 30. And then it was increased. And then it was increased to 33. So from 25 to 30, 30 to 33. This number of other judges is increased or changed by whom? Parliament. So who will decide the number of other judges? Parliament. It is Parliament who will decide how many number of other judges should be there in Supreme Court. So we have one Chief Justice of India and we have 33 other judges in Supreme Court. We also have acting Chief Justice. If the main Chief Justice is absent due to any reason, there will be acting Chief Justice. And we also have ad hoc judge. I will talk about ad hoc judge in little time. First, let's talk about that. So again, what is the composition of Supreme Court? Chief Justice of India, 33 other judges. The number of other judges will be decided by Parliament. Acting Chief Justice to work when the Chief Justice is absent or unable to perform his duty due to any reason. And we have ad hoc judge. Now, the Chief Justice of India and 33 other judges, they are appointed by President of India. So, President of India is going to appoint Chief Justice of India. Now very important, when President is appointing Chief Justice of India, he will be consulting Council of Minister. He will be consulting Council of Minister. And also, let me tell you, if President wants to consult some other judges also, he can decide that. But yes, Council of Minister, he has to consult. So, सबसे पहले President will appoint Chief Justice of India in consultation with Council of Minister. Now he will appoint other judges. Now when he is appointing other judges, he will consult Council of Minister plus CJI. So first he will appoint CJI in consultation with Council of Minister. Now he will appoint other judges in consultation with Council of Minister and in consultation of Chief Justice of India. So this is how president is going to appoint them. What about ad hoc judge? I said I'll come back to this point. Now let me tell you one thing. Ad hoc judge is appointed by CJI. Ad hoc judge is appointed by CJI, by Chief Justice of India. Like, who is ad hoc judge? Why ad hoc judge? So try and understand this point properly. We have so many high courts. In every high court we have judges. Now, sometimes CJI feels that particular high court ka koi judge, CJI feel that this particular judge, let's take an example of Gujarat. CJI feels that this judge from the Gujarat High Court should come and work in Supreme Court, maybe for a particular case or a particular period. He wants a judge from any High Court of India, whichever judge he chooses, to come and work in Supreme Court. Maybe he feels this judge has expertise in such cases, or maybe he wants that such cases should be handled by this judge, it will be better. So CJI will appoint judges from any High Court of India to come and work in Supreme Court, maybe for a particular case or a particular period. Remember one thing, whenever CJI is appointing ad hoc judge, he has to consult President, and he has to also consult the Chief Justice from the High Court where he is transferring that person to come and work in Supreme Court. So suppose if he is appointing a judge from a Gujarat High Court, he will have to consult Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court. He will have to consult Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court. So CJI appointed by President, other judges appointed by President, ad hoc judge appointed by CJI. Now, further, if you want to be a judge of Supreme Court, what qualification you should possess? So you can remember the rule of 5 and 10. If you want to be a judge of High Court, of course citizen of India is a default point, that goes without saying. But if you want to be a judge of Supreme Court, you should remember rule of 5 or 10. What is 5 or what is 10? You should have worked for 5 years as a judge, or you should have worked for 10 years as an advocate. 5 years as a judge or 10 years as an advocate. Where? दोनों में common point है. In High Court or any such court in succession. So let us frame an answer. If you have worked for 5 years as a judge in High Court or any such court in succession, or the other rule is 10. If you have worked for 10 years as an advocate in High Court or any such court in succession. So 5 or 10, the rule is 5 or 10. 5-year judge, 10-year advocate in High Court or any such court in succession, then you get qualified to be elected as a judge in Supreme Court. Or in the eye of President, you are a distinguished jurist. Sometimes President feels this person is exceptionally good in certain cases. Like he's got he's exceptionally good in his judgment. Then you can get entry in Supreme Court. That's very rare. So these are the qualifications needed to be a judge of Supreme Court. A judge of Supreme Court will continue to work till the age of 65, very important especially for MCQ. Will continue to work till the age of 65. If judge is unable to perform his duty, okay, then or if he is found to be, if there is a charges of proved misbehavior, the word proved is very important, or if there is a charge of incapacity on the part of judge to deliver justice, then he can be removed from his post by the process of impeachment. So what is the removal process of the judge is called as impeachment. On what grounds can he be impeached? Proved misbehavior or incapacity. Proved misbehavior or incapacity. So let us talk a little more about impeachment. See, a judge of the Supreme Court can be impeached only when the order of the impeachment is when the order has been given by President. But President will be giving this order not on his own. President will be giving this order only when that order has been passed by an address by each house, by the majority of each house. If each house by 2/3 majority has addressed this, that yes, we want to impeach the president, then only president can be impeached. Okay, so each house, you remember president impeachment process, it's similar to that. So first, one house will put the charge, other house will do the investigation. So both the house 2/3 majority individually is needed. Not both the house together, each house individual majority is needed. 2/3 majority of each house is needed. When that is received, then the order of removal of the judges will be given by president. This is how the judge can be removed. This is how the judge can be removed. Now, also judges have a right to resign if they don't want to work on that post or they don't want to continue. Again, you need to remember for MCQ very well, whom will they give the resignation letter to? President. So appointed by president, impeachment order given by president, resignation also given to president. So this is about the appointment and removal of the judges, qualification, composition. So kids, please in this much part only, if you see, there are a lot of small questions which can come for MCQ as well and very important to remember. Okay. Now, let me tell you one thing. Our judiciary's independence is ensured in our country. See, we have 3 organs: executive, legislature, and judiciary. Now, but our judiciary's independence is very well maintained. How? Every judge of Supreme Court is appointed by president. But did you see, president no wonder is consulting Council of Ministers, which forms our executive. But president in most of the time is also consulting the judges, and I told in the beginning, president can consult any judges. So if you say in the appointment, executive, legislature, executive is involved, but at the same time, judiciary is also involved. Judiciary is also given equal importance while appointing the judges of Supreme Court. Okay, so executive and judiciary both are involved. See, president forms a part of executive. Council of Ministers forms a part of executive. So executive and judiciary both are involved in the appointment of the judges of Supreme Court. Also, the judges cannot be removed from office by any authority unless there is a process of impeachment initiated against that judge. The judge's tenure is secured till the age of 65. They continue to work. Okay. Also, the judge's salary cannot be voted upon in the parliament because they are charged on, very important to remember, they are charged on consolidated fund of the country. So they cannot be voted upon, they cannot be reduced. They can be reduced only at one time, when there is financial emergency in our country. Otherwise, the salaries cannot be voted upon. The salaries cannot be voted upon and they are charged on consolidated fund of the country. Also, the judges are very free to announce their decisions and decree. In the court chamber, their safety is ensured. They have no danger to their life, to their property, because government provides them with full security, and that security gives them confidence. I mean, that security helps them to announce any decision without any fear. Freely they can announce any decision without any danger to their life. Also, if any person is found doing contempt of the court. Kids, what is the meaning of contempt of the court? Contempt of the court means anyone not obeying order of the court. Okay, is called as contempt of the court. If any person is found doing contempt of the court, Supreme Court has full right to punish that person. In that case, even if President or Prime Minister, any minister also if has done contempt of the court, our judges have full right to punish them also. Also, our judges are fully free to decide what procedure they want to follow in any case. For example, now when the case is going on and sometimes they don't want to announce a decision on the same day, they want to delay giving the decision by 1 week or more, they can do that. Nobody can pressurize them, you have to give decision today. Or sometimes if they want to put the case on fast track, they can decide that to do that. So how they want the case to be followed, what procedure should be followed, the decision is taken by the judge. Nobody can pressurize them to follow the procedure of someone else's choice. Our ministers, our parliament, when they meet daily, we have discussed already in Indian Parliament how they meet, they conduct session. But in any of that meeting, they cannot conduct any discussion they cannot do any discussion on the conduct of any judge. Why this judge did this or why this judge not do this. They cannot discuss conduct of any judge. If there is any discussion about judge, it will be only at one time, when the judge is going to be impeached. Otherwise, there will be no discussion in the parliament regarding conduct of any judge. Also, our judges of Supreme Court are not allowed to practice after retirement. There are chances that they might get obliged. Why are they not allowed to practice? See, if any judge is going to retire, there are chances that someone can try to influence them, can try to bribe them by offering them some good job in future once they retire. There are chances if some case is going on and that particular company or a person whose case is going on, that person can offer some bribe that once you retire in future you can come and work with us. So a judge might feel, this might person be my future employer. The judge might get obliged. Judges can get bribed. Judges can get influenced. By whom? That prospective employer. What do you mean by prospective employer? There are chances that someone can offer them good job once they retire. So they feel, okay, in future this person might be my employer. Right now, I should take decision in his or her favor. There are chances they can get obliged, right? So they are not allowed to practice after retirement. So there is a prohibition, but the pension given to them is very handsome pension is given to them. Handsome pension is given to them. Now we are going to discuss about the different powers and functions of Supreme Court. Let us discuss about the power and function of Supreme Court. Very easy to remember, and once you learn Supreme Court, automatically your High Court becomes very easy. It will not take much time because there is hardly any difference, very minor difference is there between Supreme Court and High Court. So the first function of Supreme Court is original jurisdiction. So when I say original jurisdiction, it means the power of Supreme Court to hear and determine the dispute in first instance. It means what? Not every case can be directly taken to Supreme Court. Do you agree? So, but there are some cases which you can directly take to Supreme Court. Supreme Court will hear your case and will determine the dispute in first instance only. Otherwise, some cases you have to take to High Court and then only you can take to Supreme Court. But which cases can be taken directly to Supreme Court? That cases are called as original jurisdiction. So first is center state dispute. Any cases of central government versus state government, one or more than one state, or central government plus one or more than one state on one side and one or more than one state on other side, or state one or more than one state on one side versus one or more than one state on other side. So center state versus state, state versus state. All this dispute can be directly taken to Supreme Court. Center state dispute. Second, if your fundamental rights have been violated, if your fundamental rights has been violated, if you all know very well in 9th standard you have done what are your fundamental rights, right? If anyone has violated your fundamental right, somebody forced you to change religion, somebody made you do child labor, there has been some sort of exploitation with you, any of the fundamental rights, if are violated, you have right to approach either Supreme Court directly or High Court directly. In that case, Supreme Court will help you, and I want everyone to use the same word, to enforce. Enforce means help you to get it back. Will help you to enforce your fundamental right. To enforce your fundamental right back, Supreme Court will issue orders, and those orders are called as WRITS, writs. Those orders are called as writs. We will discuss about writs in detail in High Court chapter. Writs are written order which are issued by Supreme Court or High Court to help you to enforce your fundamental rights back. Third case is transfer of case. Sometimes Supreme Court only feels that a particular case which is going on in the lower court should not be going on in the lower court. Supreme Court will only transfer that case to themselves. Supreme Court will transfer that case to themselves. They will only take the charge of original jurisdiction. They will say, no, we will handle this case. We want to determine the dispute in first instance. Let us handle this case. So transfer of case, and last, interpretation of Constitution. Interpretation of Constitution. Any cases with respect to interpretation of Constitution can be directly taken to Supreme Court in first instance. So, original jurisdiction, center state dispute, violation of fundamental right, transfer of case from lower court, and last is interpretation of Constitution. And remember one thing, Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. Nobody can challenge interpretation of Constitution by Supreme Court. So these are the four situations or four cases which can be directly taken to Supreme Court. But sometimes a case went to High Court and you are not happy with the judgment given by High Court. Then you have a power called as special leave for appeal. Now here, kids, please understand the terminology very well. Special leave for appeal. It means what? So many times, you have not been, special leave of appeal, leave, L-E-A-V-E. Here leave means permission. Here leave means permission. Sometime in certain cases, you get a special permission to appeal the case, to appeal against the judgment of the case to Supreme Court. Not in all the cases, remember one thing, not in all the cases you are granted permission to appeal in Supreme Court. Not in all the cases. Only in certain cases, Supreme Court will grant you. Like you will go and approach Supreme Court. It is up to Supreme Court whether to grant you special leave, means special permission to appeal, or to not grant you special permission to appeal. Leave to appeal means permission to appeal. Your appeal to your permission can be denied or can be accepted. The decision will be taken by Supreme Court. The decision will be taken by Supreme Court. But yes, when you are not happy with the judgment, you can use this power. You can use this power, but of course this power should be granted or not is totally going to be decided by Supreme Court. So when you go and appeal, it is called as appellate jurisdiction. There are three types of cases. There are three types of cases which can be appealed, against which the appeal can be given in Supreme Court. Constitutional cases, civil cases, and criminal cases. Now, let's say constitutional cases. Whatever the cases are. So guys, let me tell you one thing. Whenever any case goes to Supreme Court, whenever any case goes to High Court. High Court will give the judgment. If you are not happy with the judgment, you will use your power of special leave of appeal. And you will try to appeal. Okay? If your appeal is accepted, your case will start in Supreme Court. Not accepted, you will have to accept that judgment. But sometimes, High Court, very important. Sometimes High Court will issue one certificate in that case. That certificate will be saying that, listen to this very carefully. Sometimes High Court will issue the certificate which will be saying that this is a case which involves point of law and needs interpretation of the Constitution by Supreme Court. Okay? Again I repeat, if High Court issue a certificate that this case involve important law, point of law, and needs interpretation of Constitution by Supreme Court, then the Supreme Court will have to accept your appeal. But if High Court has not given this certificate, then you will have to use your power of special leave for appeal. In that case, it is up to Supreme Court to decide whether they want to accept the appeal or not. So again I repeat, whenever any constitutional cases goes in High Court, there can be two situations. A, High Court gave directly the judgment. You are not happy with the judgment. You use your power of special leave of appeal. In that, it is up to Supreme Court to decide whether they want to accept your appeal or not. Or the second situation, High Court has given a certificate that this question involves special point of law and needs interpretation of the Constitution by Supreme Court. In that case, Supreme Court will have to accept your appeal because it has been certified by High Court. Similarly, any civil cases also, when goes in High Court, same case, High Court will give the certificate that this case involves a lot of law of general importance. Let the question be decided by Supreme Court. In that case, Supreme Court has to accept your appeal because it's certified by High Court. But if High Court has given the judgment and you are not happy with that judgment, you will use your power. Which power? Special leave of appeal. But again, in that, it is up to Supreme Court to decide whether they want to accept your appeal or not. So basically, when High Court is giving certificate, your appeal is going to be accepted. When High Court is not giving certificate, you are using your power. Which power? Special leave of appeal. If that power is accepted, then your case will be accepted. Otherwise, you will have to take the punishment whatever has been given by High Court. I repeat, any constitutional cases, if the High Court has given certificate The question involves important point of law and needs interpretation by of Constitution by Supreme Court. Your case will be appealed. Or High Court has given the judgment, you are not happy with the judgment, you use your power of special leave of appeal. Same way civil cases, High Court has given the certificate. The matter involves lot of law of general importance. The matter need to be decided by Supreme Court. Your case is appealed. Or High Court has given the judgment, you are not happy with the judgment, you use your power of special leave of appeal. More or less same. Third, criminal cases also same thing. High Court has given a certificate stating that the question has given a certificate stating that this case involved substantial point of law and interpretation of Constitution by Supreme Court. Same cheese. In that case, your case will be appealed automatically. But if High Court has given the punishment and you are not happy with that punishment, again you will use your same power, special leave of appeal. But in matter of criminal cases, there is one situation when certificate is not needed. When certificate are not needed. And still your case can be easily appealed. You don't have to use your power of special leave of appeal. Your case can be easily appealed. Which are those two situations when High Court's certificate is not needed? A. If there was a case which was going on in the lower court. It was already over in the lower court. High Court reversed that judgment. What punishment, what order was given by lower court? High Court reversed that judgment and gave accused the death sentence. In that case, your certificate is not needed. Automatically your case gets appealed. Or the second situation, when the case was going on in the lower court. When the case was going on in the lower court. High Court withdrew the case from the lower court and gave accused the death sentence. In that case, certificate is not needed. So I'll repeat, criminal cases, three situations. First, situation when High Court has given the certificate. What is certificate saying? The matter needs important point of law, matter needs interpretation of Constitution by Supreme Court, let the matter be decided by Supreme Court. Or second, the judgment is given, you are not happy, you use your power. Which power? Special leave of appeal. Third case, certificate is not needed. In which situation certificate is not needed? When the case was already done by lower court, High Court reversed the judgment and gave accused death sentence. Or when the case was going on in the lower court, High Court withdrew that case to themselves and gave accused death sentence. In this case, certificate is not needed. Now listen. Now the next function, which are very easy, these were the only two biggest function of Supreme Court. Now, the next function of Supreme Court is to give advice, advisory jurisdiction. Supreme Court gives advice to President. Please underline that, very, very important to remember. Supreme Court gives advice to President. If there is any question of law, or if there is any matter of public importance, it can be referred by President to Supreme Court for advice. It can be referred by President to Supreme Court for advice. Supreme Court usually give opinion, give advice in two cases. If there is any question of law which is referred by President, President feel this is a matter of public importance, or President feel on this particular matter, the opinion of Supreme Court can really help us. In that case, President will go and seek advice. But if President is not happy with that advice, it's not binding on him to follow it. Also, if there are any dispute, हमारी country में pre-constitution treaties थी, बहुत सारी pre-constitution treaties है जो आज तक चल रही है. उनको लेके जो भी dispute आता है, whatever dispute comes with respect to that dispute पे, if President needs advice, it can be taken from Supreme Court. Again, I am repeating, the advice is not binding. Now next, function, very, very important function, is revisory jurisdiction. Supreme Court has revisory jurisdiction. Revisory means to review. Review what? To review judgment. सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्या रिव्यू करता है? जजमेंट. किसके जजमेंट? खुद के जजमेंट. सुप्रीम कोर्ट रिव्यू देयर ओन जजमेंट which has been done in the past. In the past, there was some case whose judgment was given by Supreme Court. After few months, few days, few years, Supreme Court can review that judgment again. For example, Supreme Court comes up with some new evidences, and with that new evidences, Supreme Court realized that what judgment we had given was wrong. There was some error in that judgment. So I'll repeat. Revisory jurisdiction means Supreme Court will review their own judgment which has been passed by them in past. Why is Supreme Court doing that? Because they feel some error had taken place in that judgment. And now they want to remove that error. Do you know why Supreme Court needs to remove the error? Because Supreme Court is a court of record. All the judgments of Supreme Court are recorded and used by other court as a reference material. If Supreme Court judgments are only wrong, don't you think it can be questioned or challenged by any other court? Supreme Court cannot have any wrong judgment recorded, or they can be questioned or challenged by any court. They can be questioned or challenged by any court. So that is why if they feel that yes, there was some error had taken place in the past, now we have found enough evidence to prove, then we will remove that error, we will rectify that error, and we will get it fixed. But this is very important to remember. Supreme Court reviews whose judgment? Their own judgment. Then next is judicial review power. Judicial review. Again in this also Supreme Court will review. Review what? Laws. In this Supreme Court was doing review of the judgment, and in this Supreme Court will do review of the laws. Supreme Court will review law. Supreme Court will review law. Which law? Supreme Court can review any laws which has been passed by Union Parliament or state parliament, state legislature. Any law which is made by Union government or any law which is made by state government. Supreme Court can review both the laws. And after reviewing, अगर Supreme Court को लगता है कि this particular law is violating our fundamental right, or this particular law is not as per constitution. हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा there should be equality, there should be secularism, there should be socialism, या कोई भी लॉ ऐसा है जो ये सब प्रिंसिपल्स को फॉलो नहीं कर रहा है, या ऐसा कोई लॉ है जो तुम्हारे फंडामेंटल राइट को वायलेट कर रहा है, that law will be declared as null, void, ultra vires. That law will be cancelled. Supreme Court has power to review law of both central government and state government. But remember one thing, whenever judicial review may they want to declare any law as null or void, there should be 5 judges. How many judges should be there? 5. Do you know why this power of judicial review is given to Supreme Court judge? See, let me tell you one thing. Our constitution is a written constitution. In written constitution, any law can be misinterpreted by people from, any person can have different interpretation. Right? Every person might have their own interpretation of that particular law. So what is the correct meaning of that law should be explained only by Supreme Court. Like if there is a law, you might say कि नहीं मिस इसका मीनिंग ये है कि नहीं उसका मीनिंग ये भी हो सकता है. There can be different meaning, different understanding. So what is the correct meaning of that law should be explained only by Supreme Court. Plus, our laws are made by our legislature department, our MPs and MLAs. They might not possess the wisdom, the experience and the impartiality which definitely will be there in the judges of Supreme Court. So it is better that interpretation power is given to them. To whom? Supreme Court. And last, Supreme Court is a court of record. All the judgments of Supreme Court are recorded. For evidence, for testimony. They are recorded for evidence, they are recorded for testimony. Very important, all the judgments are in the nature of precedent. Please understand the meaning of precedent. All the judgments are in the nature of precedent. It means that if any judgment is given by Supreme Court, what is the meaning of precedent? If any judgment is given by Supreme Court, if any similar case comes in High Court, then High Court is also bound to take similar decision. So if you have Supreme Court's every judgment recorded, it can be easily used by other High Court to use them as a reference material. Supreme Court's judgment are recorded for two reasons: evidence, testimony, and they are in the nature of precedent. What is the meaning of precedent? The judgment given by Supreme Court is used as a reference material by other High Court of the country. If similar case comes in other High Court are bound to take similar decision. Also remember one thing, if the judgment will be recorded, don't you think they can be used to punish someone if that person has done contempt of the court? But you will get to know whether the person has done contempt of the court or not only when the judgments are recorded. They can be used in the future. Okay, this was a judgment passed and the person is not following it. That means it's a contempt of the court. So judgments are recorded for evidence, testimony, precedent, contempt of the court. These are the powers of Supreme Court: original jurisdiction, appellate, revisory, advisory, judicial review, court of record. These are the 6 powers and functions of Supreme Court. Remember the keyword: revisory, review judgment; judicial review, review law; contempt of the court, evidence, testimony, precedent, contempt of the court. It will come in court of record. Okay. Appellate, special leave of appeal, certificate. Original jurisdiction, 4 cases: center state, violation of fundamental right, transfer of cases, interpretation of constitution. Advisory, precedent, only if we seek. Is it binding? No. So remember keyword of every, these are very easy powers to remember. Very easy power. Remember the keyword, automatically you will get the flow. But use the correct terminology. You cannot use the word permission. I want everyone to use the word special leave for appeal. You can't say the permission. I want proper law language to be used while writing your answers. Okay, please understand the meaning of precedent. What is a precedent? Contempt of the court. So all that thing, if you write correctly, this is a very easy chapter. And High Court has 80% similar thing to learn. Only 20% is different. So learn this properly, automatically your High Court will go in flow. Alright? Thank you so much.